Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to this very podcast, guys. You know how we do it. It's not different from what you've been doing before. If you've been following and if you've been subscribed to Guest Fitness, you know we've had this podcast, these interviews for a couple of months now. So today it's not different, guys. I have an interesting guest for you guys. This guy is a 58-year-old, has been doing fitness despite him aging, but he's still doing fitness and he still looks great. So today I bring him on the show so that he can tell us how to keep fit after 50, because I know most people after 50, that's when serious aging sets in, that's when medical conditions set in. So what can you do different so that you don't, fall culprit of those chronic diseases? How can you stay fit? So much more of that is going to be telling us. But also remember, guys, if you're watching this stream when we are no longer live, please remember to comment down below. Remember to like this stream. Remember to subscribe. Remember to do everything, all that usual routine. Please, don't forget to do that. But otherwise, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I welcome you to this very stream, wherever you're streaming us from. Welcome this stream. So without taking so much of your time, guys, allow me bring in my guest, and he's already here and just can't wait to share with you.
Hi,
Yes,
Garros.
good afternoon, Silver.
Good afternoon, Garros. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous, fantastic. I'm super excited and looking forward to this. I can't believe that finally we are here.
We are, yeah. A bit of technical problems, but but we got around it in the end.
So real quick, first introduce yourself to the viewers over the world that are watching right now, where you are based, and when did you develop love for fitness?
So, my name is Oggie. It's my nickname. It's not my real name. My real name is Kelvin. And so my fitness journey has been a long one. I was born in 1960, so when I was a young boy in the 60s and throughout the 70s, I liked playing football, like most young boys do. And then at the age of 17, I joined the Royal Navy, and that's when I developed my passion for resistance training. I'd never really done anything like that before, although I did do gymnastics at school. I was, not too bad at it, but only at sort of like a low level. But I really did enjoy that. And then when I throughout my time in the Navy, I did 28 years in the Royal Navy, and I was I liked weight training in the 80s. Arnold Schwarzenegger was at his peak, and I desperately wanted to like him. That was never going to happen. But and then throughout the 80s and throughout all my adulthood, I've kept with resistance training. I do some cardio as well, but I'm not particularly a great fan of running, but I do it. And I do body weight now. I use resist gyms and everything, whatever. And I think it's important as you at any age is to do resistance training, and that's for men and women. And start when you're young, and it really will pay dividends when you get to my age, or when you get past 40. Because one thing a lot of people don't realize is that when you get into your 30s, we start losing muscle mass if you don't do something about it. And that can, when you get older, that can really, you can really suffer from. And that's why a lot of older people struggle to get out of chairs, and even daily activities like walking and climbing stairs. So my advice is to everyone, for all your younger viewers, is to start now, and that's if you're men or women. And that is basically what it is. At the age of 57, I qualified as a personal trainer because I wanted to turn my passion into helping others be fit and healthy when they get older. And that's it in a nutshell, Geros.
Oh, perfect. That's interesting. I mean, why I'm super interested in, fitness after 50 is just because I understand as you age, there's something we call sarcopenia, where you start losing a lot of muscle mass, muscle cells, and such kind of stuff. So I'm just looking at someone who has not been training in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, and now they're 50 years old, and then they look severely wasted. They have lost a lot of muscle mass. So my first question would be, if someone has never trained, if they didn't train in their 40s, in their 30s, in their 20s, how do they get started with training? I mean, they are already 50 years. Do you recommend them start on training?
Oh, absolutely. It's never too late to start. One of the things you must do, though, is don't try and compare yourself to others, especially, like the internet. There's lots of um, younger people out there who've got this really ripped body, bit like you. But if you're in your 50s, you've got to be realistic about it. Start slowly, take it easy. And my advice would be is look around, do some research and see what you like to do, what you would like to do. And ideally, find someone who's been there, seen it, done it, and can advise you. Not a family member is not necessarily the best person to ask. Um, People like me who've been there, seen it, done it, and I'm qualified. I know I've got all the aches and pains and everything. But the main advice would be really is to take it easy because it will hurt. You and I have heard of a thing called delayed onset of muscle soreness, or DOMS. And for the first few days, even after doing a basic workout, you will ache. But you've got to start somewhere. And my advice is to get advice, but don't get advice just from anywhere.
Oh, perfect, perfect. That's interesting. Let me first shout out some people who have joined us. Dan, I see you. Kerry, thanks for coming through. Audible Live Scriptures, thanks for coming through. Mweshi, thanks for coming through. All these people are catching us live. And guys, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put it in the live chat so that I can put that question straight to my guests. Don't hesitate to do that. So let's look at these people, especially like we've said, as you age, then you have the onset of chronic diseases. Some of the people right now, they get their chronic diseases as early as maybe mid 30s, late 30s, 40s. People have hypertension, people have diabetes, people. So would you recommend someone who has maybe a diagnosed chronic disease to actually start working out and staying fit?
Sorry, I didn't catch the last bit.
Yes.
Yeah, so I didn't catch the last bit, Geros.
I was simply saying that we have a lot of people right now contracting chronic disease, especially in their mid 30s, early 40s, and maybe early 50s. So would you also kind of advise these people to start on staying fit and in their when they already have a diagnosed chronic disease?
Yeah. So the thing is, though, is that the earlier you start, one, exercising, but also it's nutrition. Okay. But start, in your teens, but carry it on. You don't you just do something, because really it will pay dividends when you get older. There's, as you get into your late 30s, for instance, you start thinking, oh, my 40s are around the corner. I'm starting to becoming middle-aged. And, you start putting a bit of fat on and you start feeling a bit sluggish, and work and life may get in the way. And you think, oh, I haven't got time to do this. So my advice would be is start early, right? But also is let it become part of your lifestyle. It's got to really become habitual and a habit, and if it's, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week, for instance, then if you start in your teens and in your 20s, 30s onwards, then you'd think, oh, it's Monday, I've got to go to the gym or I've got to do some exercise. And it's just the same as everything. It's just like we go to bed. I don't know about you, Geros, but I tend to go to bed roughly the same time every single night, right? Because it becomes a habit. And and that's exactly what fitness should be as well. But you can do as much training as you like. In your 20s and teens, you can get away with eating some junk food, but as you get older, right, it becomes more difficult for your body to metabolize. So, alongside exercising in your teens, 20s, 30s, right, think also about what you're putting inside your body, because lots of older people, lots of younger people, and the prevalence of obesity and type 2 diabetes and a whole host of other chronic diseases are rising in your country, Giros, and in the UK and throughout the world. And the trouble is that there's so much availability of cheap junk food out there. I don't know what it's like in your country, but it's probably the same. But it's got to be. It doesn't have to be expensive to eat healthy. Vegetables are relatively cheap, and you can get cheaper cuts of meat to get good nutrition in. But eating pizzas and burgers and whatever, yeah, there's nothing wrong with having them every now and again, but they should not become part of your habits. Does that make sense?
It does. It absolutely does. And someone here actually in the live chat has asked an interesting question and is saying, what kind of exercises are recommended for elderly persons, taking into account that these people also have their bone density, low bone density? Are they at risk of getting fractures?
So the main thing you must do is body weight is fine if you've got nothing else, but avoid jumping exercises. So you could do, for instance, a body weight squat, but don't go down too low. Go down and do what is comfortable for you. If you're doing like a squat, for instance, then just go down as far as you can. Don't do a jump squat, or don't do any tuck jumps or star jumps or anything like that, because that could cause you problems. So avoid all jumping at the start, especially if you've got low bone density. And when you're doing, like if you're doing upper body work, you don't need to get down to the floor. Maybe try and do a press up standing against the wall, or try, if you can get down to the floor, do a press up with your knees on the floor. So then you're putting less pressure on your joints and your shoulders, for instance. But the main thing is, and avoid heavy. If you have got weights, avoid heavy weights. Okay, let your body get used to lifting weights and doing resistance training, because even after about 4 weeks, you will feel a difference. What will happen is that you're not only will your muscle mass increase, but your bone density will get better as well. And then you can progress. So that's my advice, is take it easy at first. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything that's high impact. Do low impact stuff, and it will start you on your way. And then you can do the high impact stuff and the heavier weights a bit on further down the line.
Oh, perfect. And let's look at, as if you're so much into calisthenics. I've seen you try a lot of bodyweight training and calisthenics and all that kind of stuff. How does that one been able to fare with you, especially looking at your age and all that? How is calisthenics, faring up with you?
Yeah, so there are some things I can't do, and I think for me personally, the fact that I did gymnastics back in the 70s when I was at school, you know, and I'm not particularly flexible, but I've been able to do things like, so like some of the stuff that I do hanging, for instance. But again, I wouldn't be able to do them now if I didn't wasn't doing them, or let's put it this way, I could do them now, but it would make it a whole lot more difficult if I hadn't been doing them throughout my life. So those kind of things really are quite advanced. It is possible if you start in your 50s to be able to do stuff like that. And there is somebody who I follow on YouTube who is in his 50s, and he's only started very recently. So it is possible, but it's not easy. And there are some things, I mean, I don't know if you can do a muscle up, Geros, but that is one of the things I'm going to try. But I'm having to use a band as assistance at this stage because I just don't quite have the strength and also the technique, because a lot of it is down to technique. I don't have that straightforward technique as yet, but my aim is to be able to do a couple of muscle ups at least by the end of 2021. So that's what I advise. You know, especially calisthenics is very, very different than lifting weights, as you know, and it's a lot. So a combination of the two can really help getting all over body. You know, feel good all over your body.
Yeah, I know calisthenics is very money. I myself, yes, and now I can try to do, a muscle up, but of course not perfectly well. Even me, I'm still trying because I understand some of the calisthenics movement are really hard simply because you're doing neural training at the same time as muscle training. So you need to train your brain a lot. You also need to train your muscles for strength, endurance, and such kind of stuff. That's what makes calisthenics very hard compared to weight lifting. So let's look at nutrition. So if this someone is trying to now get started with fitness in the old age, let's talk how they can integrate in nutrition to get results faster.
So the first thing is at the very top level, right? It's calories in, calories out, the energy balance. So basically, if you consume more calories than you use, you burn off, right? Then you're going to put weight on. Right? There is a lot more to it than that. It's a lot more complicated because everybody is different. But at the real basic level, that's what it is. Is think about the calories that you're eating. But it's not just that; it's the quality of the food that you're eating. Now, say if you're eating cheap pastries, regularly on a daily basis, or biscuits or cookies, on a regular basis, they are not very nutrition dense. They taste lovely, of course they do, but they're not going to really give you the fuel that your body needs. And let's face it, the body is an engine. It needs looking after. It's just like a car engine. You put in oil to help the engine go. You put fuel in to make the engine go. And the body is the same, but the body needs mostly quality stuff, and also preferably nutrient dense. The kind of things I personally like are chicken or turkey or beef. If you're a vegetarian, there are vegetarian options, and because I'm getting lots of protein in them. But also, especially in like the white meats like chicken, it's lots of protein, but they're lower in calories. And what protein does, it basically builds and repair the body, and that's everything from your hair to your muscles, your nails, and everything. Protein is essential, and average, you need probably about just under a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, that is an average, right? It's not going to be the same for everyone. But also, and then you've got carbohydrates. A lot of people say they're on a low carb diet, right? But the body needs carbs for its primary source of energy. And that's it. But preferably good carbs, carbohydrates, as in fruits and vegetables, for instance. Okay. But we also need fats. The body needs fats. The brain needs fat to operate properly. But the body does need fats. And there's lots of science behind that. And finally, we're getting away from this low fat thing, because what they do, and you probably know this, Giros, is let's take a yogurt, right? If they have a low fat yogurt, what they tend to do is, to make it taste nice, they've got to put sugar in it. So, it's better to have the natural fats from the yogurt than it is to have added sugar. Because I don't know if you've ever tasted natural yogurt whereby they've taken the fat out and not put sugar in. It tastes disgusting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have. I've really tried it, and it's insane.
Yeah. So it's so you've got those three things: proteins, fats, and carbs. They're all equally important, but the body uses them in different ways. And also, it depends on the kind of exercise you're doing as well, how the body uses it for us. If you're doing a sprint, or you're doing a 1,500 meters race, or if you're doing a marathon. Marathon runners tend to be very slim and don't have much muscle. And sprinters are usually quite bulky and quite muscly, but they're also spread. It's because their diets as well. So it all depends on, what exercise do you want to do, and you've got to work your nutrition around what's good for you. But at the end of the day, it's got to be mostly good food. But anyway, Gareth, we are human. I have a burger now and again, and I have a pizza now and again. But most of the time, it's good, nutritious food that I consume.
Yeah, and I understand there's this 80-20 rule where they say 80% eat right, 20% enjoy your favorite foods. I understand you have to go for parties once in a while, birthday parties, social gatherings, and perhaps you can't control what to eat from there or what they prepared for you. So once in a while, having your burger, having your pizza, having your red wine is perfect, okay. But make sure that 80% you're eating right. Also, your body is prepared enough to handle that 20% that you're not eating right. Your body is in good shape to deal with, perhaps if you're taking in toxins from either alcohol, your body can actually handle that. It only becomes bad when you flip it, when 80% you're eating, junk and all that kind of stuff, and then 20% you're trying to eat the right foods. I think that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, I agree. So the 80-20 rule is, so like, again, it's the average, and it's going to be different for individuals, but 80-20 is the, but I don't know what it's like in your country, Geros, but where I am, and mostly throughout the world, I think a lot of people, it's the other way around to what it should be. And it's causing all sorts of problems throughout the world with diseases and everything like that. And you're going to remember also is that it's accumulative as well. So as you get older, you're eating all this junk, it's going up and up and up and up and up. Before you know it, you've got diseases, and it's getting younger. The levels of obesity now, we've got to see it in children, and and something needs. I don't know what there is no simple answer. A lot of it is education from people like you and me, right? But we can only do so much. We're only tiny little cogs in big wills. We can only.
Exactly. And if you come back to my country here, Uganda, East Africa, because we tend now to copy the Western culture. If you look back and see how our grandfathers, our grandmothers, our grandparents, how they used to eat, we've kind of deviated from that, and we are eating more of Western culture. So we no longer actually eat traditional African food. We now actually eat like the Western people. We've had a trend of these chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, hypercholesterolemia, dyslipidemias. They are on a rise here in Africa, which never used to be the case. Africa we used to have our own problems, especially with the infectious diseases, maybe talk about like cholera and such kind of stuff. But right now, we are actually suffering the same diseases as the Western culture, simply because we took over their eating habits.
Yeah, so I have heard that. We in the Western world, we've got a lot to answer for when it comes to nutrition. I really don't know what the answer. And you got companies like McDonald's, for instance, they're
For
worldwide.
example, if you come back, for example, we never have now in Uganda we have what we call KFC, Kentucky
Yeah,
something chicken. So that's
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
right now, and it never used to be there. Now we are eating all this deep fried chicken and
Yeah,
stuff, which we never used to eat. We used to eat our natural organic foods. I mean, if you talk about chicken, we used to eat eggs which were raised from chicken, which are free range system. You understand what I'm saying? But right
yes,
now, the eggs we eat, they are from these chicken that have been put in the house and fed on all these starchy foods and other kind of stuff. So we no longer eat the kind of chicken or eggs that we used to eat then, simply because we are trying to cope up with technology from the Western world. That's what is happening here in Africa as well.
yeah, and I think that really it needs to come bigger than from people like yourself. It needs to come from government, but but then you've got to be. I think you've got to be careful, whereby you mustn't try and be like we call it the nanny state. You mustn't be too domineering. You can only give the advice, um, and but it needs to come from the top level. But it needs to be realistic as well. You mustn't scare people away. And it's a shame that, and I think going back to the egg thing, the caged, we call them caged eggs, or caged chickens, sorry. And the one thing, of course, is that when they're like that, it makes it cheaper. And I think that's what, in rich countries and in poor countries, it's the first thing people ask is not how good is it for me, but it's what's the cost? Not what's the value, but what's the cost of that food? But it's the value that these people should be looking at is that going to do me any good, or is that going to do me harm? Right now, on a one-off, no, it's not going to do you harm, but it's the long term, and especially when you're young. And I really admire you, Gareth, because you're still young and you've taken the right pathway. But I bet if you spoke to a lot of your old school friends, is that they've taken completely different pathway and are overweight and already starting to suffer and etc. So, but don't think about the cost, think about the value. Now, if you haven't got much money, and I get that, but you can still find healthy foods that do not cost a lot of money. So yeah, my thing is thumbs up to you because you've taken the right pathway as a young person.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because I deal with patients with a lot of chronic disease. I deal with patients with a lot of kidney disease, diabetes, hypertension, and I really understand what they go through. So my prayer is I would want to see these patients come to me. I want to see these patients getting better. I would feel happy when I don't have patients. That's my prayer. someone might think then you don't have a job, but then prioritizing a job over health, then that would mean that you're becoming so selfish. But you see, what's happening here in my country specifically is you don't have people who are into wellness and health. You don't have a lot of people talking about family medicine. You don't have a lot of sensitization to the communities, talking about all diseases, telling people that actually what you eat is perhaps the reason why you are sick. So we are putting more emphasis on curative treatment, not preventative medicine. And that's one of the reasons why we actually decided to come through, and perhaps we could change one or two things here and there.
Yeah, and I think that it's from the likes of you and me, it's got to be, we're not going to have that great big reach to everyone. So we can only do like what we can do. The internet makes it better because we've got a bigger reach. But so what I try to do in my local community, and it is really local, is to show what I can do as somebody who's 60 and what health and fitness is doing for me, you know. But if people have got to be willing to change, and that's another thing, Giros, is it's all right. We could go on and on and on about why it's good for you, etc., etc.
And what one thing that I discovered is, when all these companies are making all this toxic stuff, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and name them, it's because they are using people's ignorance, to make money. Because everyone knows, even the company knows that high fructose corn syrup is bad, but then they are using your ignorance out there because you don't know it's bad to make money out of you. So it's, we have to come out and tell these people, when you take something, you take it with an informed mind.
Yes, yeah, and it's all up there, right? It's I'll give you an example of smoking. Back in the 70s, right, the vast majority of adults smoked. Now in the UK, certainly, it's a smaller percentage, and I think that it's going to, eventually, when you're my age, for instance, the message might finally have got across that eating all this junk food is not good for you. The difficulty is the big corporations have got all the money. They've got all the clout. They're the ones who can lobby politicians. They're the ones who can change people's lives, right? I think that what they do at the moment is they do say, oh, we want you to be healthy and everything like that, and they do a little bit towards that, but they're the ones who've got the real big clout. And when you can get a salad alongside a burger, is that really going to help? But I think that it's people's mindsets that have got to change, and it doesn't happen overnight. But it's also, we need the big corporations as well to really get on board across the world, because otherwise, you and I, like I said before, you and I can only get that message to so many people. We don't have the big clout. We can't lobby
Yeah,
politicians.
exactly. And because I was looking at the standard American diet and their recommendations, a few years ago, they are actually insane. If you follow the standard American diet, trust me, within 1 year, you will get a base, or 2 years, you perhaps get a base depending on whether you have good genetics or bad genetics. But then, people coming out and then critiquing the standard American diet, putting all this information out there, I think has changed a lot, because if you look at statistics, the reduction of soda intake, sugar intake, has gone down in America simply because, people have come out, preach all this gospel. And I think people are appreciating, and having so many people into wellness. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I think if we keep on the track, we shall perhaps achieve something.
Yeah, it is happening slowly. Yeah, I agree with that. And like I say, is the American diet is used as the standard because it's a big country, and that's where all the big companies, KFC and McDonald's, all them, they all started in America. It is gradually, slowly changing, and now we don't know that in 10 years' time the um, obesity could have dropped drastically. Nobody's got a crystal ball to work that one out. I hope so. I really, really hope so. And I think that if there's got to be a sea change through these corporations, they're the ones who can lead it. They can lead the way and be role models, if you like. Um, of course, businesses are in business to make profit, and I get that. I don't, and nobody goes into business to make a loss, right?
Yeah.
And I get that, but for thinking long term, what can we do long term in 10, 20, 30 years time that's going to help everybody? Is there a simple answer? I don't know. I don't think there is, but maybe you do. I don't know. But it's got to be led by governments and corporations, because otherwise, you and I, like I said before, you and I can only do so much. And the internet helps because, I don't know how far away Uganda is from the UK, but we're talking to people potentially around the world. We can
Yeah.
get the message out. It helps. But again, we don't have the money, we don't have the clout, we don't have the, we can't go knocking on politicians' doors to say, look, this needs to change. So, but it's mindset. I'll give you an example about mindset as well. Is that we have a famous, we call them celebrity chefs over here. And he tried to get into schools, school meals for kids, to change their, what was really junk food, to change it to give healthy meals. But what you had then is that you had parents handing their kids junk food through the school gates at lunchtime because they were complaining that their kids weren't being fed proper food. By proper food, I mean a cake or something like that. And it got somewhere, but it really, even he was fighting a losing battle. So throughout the world, it's got to be mindset. But so we can only do so much. But please, if you are young, start now. Listen to Geros. He's young. Take advice from somebody like him, because when you get to my age, it will really help you. And my wife and I, we're both in our 60s. She's older than me. Neither of us take any pills whatsoever to keep ourselves alive. But we are unusual, right? We take nothing. I think I can probably count on, 2 hands, 10 fingers, the number of paracetamol I have had in about 10 years. I haven't had
Wow.
any
That's
illnesses.
impressive.
I haven't had any illnesses. I tell a lie, about 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, maybe, I had pneumonia, and it was proper pneumonia. But ever since then, I've had nothing. Of course, I've had the odd sneeze and the odd cough, but it's been nothing serious. And now we've got this pandemic going on. Okay, we feel that our immune system is at its peak to enable us to be able to cope. I'm not going to say we're not going to get it, although it seems to be on the wane and on the way down here. But I've never felt at threat, mainly because I know that my immune system is very strong because of health and fitness. And that's another thing, how keeping healthy and fit, is who's to say we're not going to have another pandemic next year? Who knows? Who knows? But the best thing you can do is build your own immune system without relying on supplements or pills from the doctor. Good nutrition, good exercise, and even we're in the UK, we're not in a particularly this time of year, we don't get a lot of sun, so we can't get a lot of vitamin D from the sun. But you can still get some vitamin D from nutrition, and if you need to, take a supplement. But you've got to start young, right? And it's your immune system which also counts as well.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, this is interesting. You're 60 years old and you're not taking any pills.
Nothing.
It's hard here in my country to find a 60-year-old without on any chronic treatment. If they don't have kidney disease, they are having diabetes. Not that they're having hypertension. If not that, they're having cancer. If not that, they're having HIV. If not that, there's something else they are taking the pills for. But simply because during their youthful years, there's something they didn't do. For example, there's something we always say here, especially in the fitness world, is take your food as if it was your medicine today, so that in the future you don't have to take medicine as if it's your food. So that's what he's saying. He's saying that at 60 years old, he's not taking any pills. You understand what I'm saying? Because during his youthful days, in his 70s, in his 80s, he didn't play around with his life. He was doing gymnastics, he was exercising, he was eating well, and right now, he's okay. No chronic disease, no abnormal blood pressures, no diabetes, no chronic disease, and that's what we want to see, our future generation live. But in this kind of life we are living right now, we have people who are getting these diseases as early as 30 years old, a 30-year-old having type 2 diabetes, it's really so sad. Those are some of the things we couldn't keep silent on. We have to come up and do something about them. We have to tell the truth, and then you choose the truth or you neglect the truth, and that's what we are here talking about. But I want to share, because they might think that we are just talking about this, I want to share a video file of you doing your work so that people can see what you're all about.
Another video from Oggie Silver Fitness, and today we are going to show you a beginner's workout. Right, I recorded it a couple of days ago. It was done in this room. It really is for beginners, absolute beginners. Okay, and without further ado, let's go straight over to the workout. Okay, welcome to another workout. We're going to work the whole body. Okay, so you don't need any special clothes or anything like that. You might need some water. Just do what you can do. Okay, what you will need is some weight. Right, I've got 2 cans here, but you can use any weights whatsoever. Okay, you'll be doing this movement and this movement, so you need something you can really grab hold of. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a warm-up. We're going to work the body, number of sets, and then we're going to go through another set of exercises as well, and then we will cool down. Okay, so what we're going to do is just start with marching on the spot, just to bring the heart rate up. Okay, just to bring it up, bring the knees up, swing the arms, starting to bring the heart rate up slowly. At any time throughout this, if you need to pause, then please do. Okay, if you want to, you can just gently jog on the spot. We're not doing anything hard at the moment. This is still the warm-up. Okay, that's it. Stick with me as much as you can. Let's say if you want to, just jog in on the spot, whatever's good for you. You know your own ability. Okay. Knees up a bit higher. A little bit faster. And hold your tummy in. Suck it in throughout all the exercises. Good. And we're going to step side to side and go. 1. Still doing the warm up. Good. Stick with me. That's it. Good. Good. A bit faster if you can. Find your own level. Well done. That's it. And steady there and just marching on the spot again. Good. So I can feel my heart rate going up now. Good. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to kick out in front of us. Literally, okay, just standing there and you're literally going to kick out in front. Just warming up the hips. Keep your back straight as possible. That's it. Good. And so there we're now just going to get our hips going as well still. So just lift up and just roll the hip outwards. And roll the leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, very good. Well done. Well done if you're sticking with me. You do what you can do. So, we've worked our chest. We're now going to work our back muscles. Okay, there's a number of them. Right, very important to work your back. Now I'm going to use these 2 cans. As I said, if you've got whatever weight, it could be 2 full, I don't know, carrier bags or something like that. Right? So we need to bend over slightly, right? Palms down and literally come up like that. Okay? And we're going to do 12 of those. And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, good. So what you need to do there is slightly bend your knees. Okay? All right. So we're going to do another set of those and we're going to do 10. And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Yes, that work in the back is very important because it can help strengthening the muscles of the back, which will help prevent stooping, especially if we're at a computer a lot. Let's do another set of those, final set, and we're going to do 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Yeah, so we've done chest, we've done back, and now we're going to work our legs. So back of the settee again, and literally what we're going to do is we're just going to kick back, so it's working the bum as well, but also the leg muscles. Right, we're going to do 12 on each foot, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the other leg. And go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. Active rest. Okay. And pause it at any time. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Straight into the front raise and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, good. Just shrug the shoulders. We're just going to do one more set of all 3 of those. Okay, we're just going to do 10 reps in your position. Okay, and squat down and pull up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. There you go. Woo! How am I feeling now? Right. So we've worked loads of muscles today, which is what you should be doing every day. All right. Bring it down. How was that? Okay. So we're just going to do a couple of stretches to finish off. Okay. Gradually, slowly bringing the heart rate down. Okay. And just do a couple of stretches. If you need to hold on to something, then do. All right. So we're just going to stretch out the back of the legs. All right. Okay. Just put one foot down. All right. Like I'm doing there. Turn the toe up. Right. This is an stretch. We're working muscles there called the hamstring. Okay. Just put your hands where comfortable on the same leg or even on the opposite knee. So doing it like that. Okay. And you can just hold on like that as well if you need. And then we'll just do it the other side. Good.
Wow.
And steady there. And grabbing hold of something, we're going to stretch the front of the leg. Right, the quadriceps muscles. Right, make sure your back's nice and straight. Try not to lean forward. Push your hips.
Wow, that was interesting. I'm seeing a lot of response from the live chat. Can you folks are saying you're getting inspired? Thanks for watching as well. Dan Rams is saying absolute discipline, especially for us for kids at home. Someone's saying, wait, this guy is 50, impossible. So that's what we're talking about. Which excuse are you giving out there for you not to work out? He's just giving you simple exercises from your living house, living home, in your compound. You don't have to, complain that you don't have gym membership. You don't have to complain that you don't need time. Because I understand out of 24 hours, you can't fail to get maybe 20 minutes to work out. So which excuse out there are you giving if you're watching us right now? But also I understand perhaps maybe the audience that is watching us right now is maybe below 50 years, but please make sure that you go tell your dad, your mom, your father, your grandpa to go and subscribe to this guy's channel. His channel is Oggie Silver Fitness. If your father, if your mother, if anyone else needs motivation and they are in their old age, this is the channel they need to subscribe to. This is interesting. I've heard this clip speaks volumes. Some people might think we are just here seated and we're just talking about these things, but this is what you do actually in real life.
Yeah. So the reason why I started my channel was in March last year when, for us, lockdown started. I'm not sure when it started for you, but for us it was the end of March. And I thought, well, what can I do to help? And I thought, well, I'm a qualified personal trainer. Why don't I just try and do simple exercises that anybody can do? Anybody can do. And you notice none of them are on the floor. And and I wanted, people are stuck in their homes. At that time, we were really restricted to what we could do, where we could go, and who we could mix with. And I thought, well, people are just going to waste away and be bored to tears. And it's not only that, it's mental health as well, Gyros, of course, that exercise is good for. And I thought that I could do my little bit to help, to do simple exercises for people who are not used to exercises. And one thing you notice I didn't do there is, if you and I were having a chat, we could go into technical details and stuff like that. But I kept it really, really basic so that I didn't, people would switch off. If you start going into technical terms about exercise and, sarcopenia or whatever, and people might switch off. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted them to realize that anybody can do exercise, and you don't need. I was using 2 cans of food as a weight. And I was using the back of the settee as a prop, but you can use the wall. Every household has got something that they can use, right? To build their muscle. You don't need to do the kind of stuff that you and I do. You don't need to do that. That routine there, and again, like you mentioned the time, that routine there was 20 minutes. And that was it. It was 20 minutes, but it was an all-over body workout. If everybody did nothing else but did that, 3 times a week, their lives would improve immensely. And that's at any age. If you're a complete and utter beginner, and if you're, let's say, you're clinically obese in your 20s, and you're really, and a lot of people also feel scared of gyms or working out in public. And this is what is to encourage. Exercise is for everyone. It's not for the young, the old, the fit. It's for everyone. Now, if you are completely disabled, that's a different matter altogether, and you probably need to see a physiotherapist or something like that. But for those of us who are able-bodied, do something. Do something. Go for a walk.
Perfect. And like you've said, I mean, you can't reverse the physiology of aging. Like at some point, everyone must age. Like no question about that. But you can delay your physiology of aging, and that's what it's trying to explain. We're saying as you age, a lot of physiological stuff happens around your body. I mean, you lose a lot of muscle mass, or something we call sarcopenia. You lose a lot of bone density, so you're prone to osteoporosis. You're prone to getting all these fractures, but you have a chance to delay that. And doing that, you don't have to first reach your 50s. Is start where you are now. If you haven't started, start today. You get what I'm saying? Start eating right. Make sure that you're getting the right nutrients into your body. Make sure that you're exercising so that you don't lose a lot of muscle. And that's what you basically need. I mean, he's 60 years old and he's not walking on a stick. He's not taking any chronic medications. So that's what we mean. Yes, you can't reverse aging. You can't stop aging, but you can delay the process, because I understand that some people who are maybe in their 50s or in their 40s, but they already look like they're in 60s and 70s, simply because during their youthful days, they lived their life the way they wanted, and now they are paying the consequences. So I think it's important, it's very, very, very paramount that you think about your future life today. Some people, I understand, like me, I'm 27 right now, but some people, they don't look at their life at 50. They are only looking at their life using a short lens. They're looking maybe at the next year. They're looking at, next 5 years. You're not looking at how you're going to be looking at 50, at 50 years, at 60 years, at 70 years old. And I feel this is something that you should start thinking about now. I mean, work your way to the future. I mean, if he wasn't perhaps doing gymnastics, eating right, training in his 70s or 80s, he wouldn't perhaps be looking like this. but he built a foundation for where he is today. So you out there, you young person who is watching us right now, is start think about your future, build the foundation for your future, build that lean mass, because we understand lean mass is healthier. If you want to be healthy, you must look lean. You must have a lot of muscle mass on you. Muscle mass is metabolically active, it burns a lot of calories and such kind of stuff, as compared to you having a lot of fat mass on you. And you understand that as you age, your body will tend to lose muscle and gain more fat. So it's all about you now to resist that. So try resisting, gaining a lot of fat as you age, actually maintaining your muscle mass or even building more muscle. And I think that's what people watching us should, concentrate on.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that, and we're all the same. When you're young, you think you're indestructible. Believe me, you are not. And as you put it perfectly, Giros, is you can't stop the aging process. It's input, despite what celebrities might say or whatever, you cannot stop the aging process, but you can slow it down. And if you're in your 30s, and even if you're 40s, it's not too late, right? I know somebody who was at the age of 50, he was obese, he used to, burgers and McDonald's was his best friend. He was a big McDonald's eater and everything. But within his doctor literally told him, he said, if you don't do something about it now, you will be dead before you reach 60, because it was putting pressure on the heart and everything. So, and now he's been on stage in shows, right, and won medals because of his physique. So it's not too late, but the earlier that you start, the better it is for you, right? And my advice is start, as Geros said, start now.
I don't know if you still have something that you want to tell, the viewers right now, but I feel we are very exhausted. All of it, if maybe you have your parting shots, especially putting all what we've said in summary, so that maybe someone has a notebook and they perhaps need to note these points. So you can do that and perhaps you get out of here.
So my first thing is nutrition is key, right? Have junk food occasionally, rarely, but enjoy it. Enjoy it. We're all human, but most of the time it should be good nutrition. But also exercise. Find something that you like to do. Don't try and do something you don't like, right? Because it'll put you off. Find something you like to do and stick with it. 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be an hour at a time either, right? So those are the key things. Right, and it's got to be a lifestyle change. If you're not doing it now, it's got to be a habit.
Oh, perfect, perfect. And tell people where they can, perhaps find you. Where can people find you? Because maybe someone has, gotten inspired watching one of your clips, and maybe if they want personal training online, maybe if they want follow workouts, where can they find you?
So I have my YouTube channel, but I also have a Facebook fitness page, and it's the same name. So it's facebook.com Oggie Silver Fitness, and that's my main page.
So as he has put it, he has a YouTube channel where you can go and find all these follow-along workouts for beginners, targeting different muscle groups. As you can see already on the screen, his channel is Oggie Silver Fitness. Based in the UK, you can find him on Instagram, you can find him on Facebook. If you have personal questions, please hook him up and he'll sort you. But otherwise, to me, it's been awesome, hosting you. I just prayed for this day to, finally come. People have been asking me a lot of questions about fitness in the old age because they think I'm young, but they wanted advice from you. So, them watching this video, I think they're gonna pick 1 or 2 things here and there that can, help them. But otherwise, it's been awesome having you, and I'm looking forward to, having more discussions with you and how we can, perhaps create a positive change in our respective communities.
Absolutely, it's been a great experience talking to you, Geros, and I don't know, was it about 5 o'clock over there now? So enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully you've got better weather than us.
Yeah, see you in the next interview. Bye. And
Yeah. See you again, Geros. Thank you very much.